and thank you for joining Date with the Divas. If this is your first time with us, welcome and thank you if you are returning. And if you are returning, that means you're loving us. So please click on that subscribe button if you haven't already. And remember to like our videos and click on that notification bell so you never miss out on our newest videos. Entourage, you know we get thirsty when we be listening to this tea, so grab your drink. Ms. Entrees, hook us up, please.
I think Alicia's our host tonight.
Oh, that's right. My bad.
We look alike sometimes, so you know what I'm saying.
At least I got some jokes, Alicia. Come on.
Right? Yes. Ooh, all right, divas. Oh, our 1 week off has our notifications have been going off and off and off of all the drama that's been happening these past couple of weeks. Okay, are y'all ready for this? Okay, so rapper T.I and his wife Tamika Harris, Tiny. Tiny is part of the escape group. T.I is a rapper. So they have a nice blended family. And their eldest son together, his name is King. He's 19 years old. There he is. And they have a few other kids as well. I'm not sure if we got a full family photo. Yeah, there's all the clan there. Missing the little girl. They have a 7-year-old girl. So but yeah, very cute family. But this past weekend, T.I and his family, they were at a Atlanta Falcons versus New York Jets game on Sunday. And King, who's, been in the media every once in a while, for his behavior and stuff like that, he decided to take to his Instagram and go live when him and his parents were having a little spat. You can hear over the live, he's kind of showing the camera to himself, but you can hear T.I saying that King grew up over with a silver spoon in his mouth, so to speak, because both his parents are famous. They have their own reality show and all this sort of stuff. But for some reason, King was offended by this. He pretty much said, I never ate a day in my life with a silver spoon. He claims his parents were trying to hide the fact that he was really in these streets, quote unquote, and that he knew about hardships, like living with roaches and things like that, because he pretty much grew up with his grandmother and not his parents, like they were trying to claim, And do we have a picture of his grandma? There she is, right in front of Tiny there. That's the grandmother. And
so that's Tiny's mother?
Yes, Tiny's mother. Oh, yeah, did I say grandmother?
No, I'm just asking whose mother she is. That's
okay, yes, that's Tiny's mother. Okay. Right there. That's when the kids are a little bit younger, but that's Tiny's mother right there. So he would say that he would spend all his time over at his grandmother's house all the time. And Tiny, grabs herself into the video and says, claiming that the only reason why King would run to his grandmother's house all the time was so that he could, quote, suck a pacifier over there until he was 12 years old, because he couldn't do that at their house. And so King was denying that, saying, no, that's not it. I just didn't want to be behind the gated community, the gates or gated community where they lived in the mansion. He wanted to be outside in the neighborhood, quote unquote, Mm-hmm. And then, King and T.I were going back and forth. T.I was talking about how he's embarrassing the family and himself. And King was like, his parents are trying to hide the truth about his upbringing, that they're lying. And, then you could tell that King was getting riled up and pretty angry for a little bit, and you can hear King telling his mom, why is he letting T.I play with him like that? And, Tiny was like, oh, they're just joking, And towards the end of the video, you can kind of hear a scuffle, and it looks, some people are speculating that T.I put King in a chokehold or whatever. Mm-hmm. And because, King kept saying that he was capping, blah, blah, blah. And T.I was like, you need to be a man, son, be a man, And then towards the end, T.I was telling him, boy, you can't do nothing with me. Ain't as you could do with me, let him know basically that, I can put you in your place, basically. So after the video went viral, King took to his Instagram story and he did a couple of cryptic messages, as most people do, which are now deleted, of course. One of the messages pretty much says that his that his parents need to just admit that he was a mistake, quote unquote.
He was a mistake?
Yes, that he was a mistake, that they need to just admit that he was a mistake.
What does that have to do with the argument, though?
Yeah.
Right. I don't know.
That seems off topic.
Right. It's just like he's just like a hurt
child. Was a mistake, and there were 2 other kids that came after you?
Well, I mean, there's always surprise babies at the beginning. You know, maybe that was the one that put them together. Who knows? I'm just saying.
But he's not the oldest. Isn't
He's
he?
not the oldest.
He's in the middle.
Okay, but
them 2 together, I feel like
it just sounds like a privileged kid that was born with a silver spoon in his mouth.
Right. Of them 2 together, he's the oldest. Because I mean, they have older kids, but not together.
Oh, he's their first child.
Yeah, I want to say.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay, I thought he was.
Who do you think is their first? Lava, I might be wrong, but who was their first? You think?
No, their first together is King.
I thought. Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay.
Okay, you probably think of Zanique or whatever her name
No,
is.
I was thinking of a boy, but then I'm thinking about the one that's after him. I'm confusing them because they've gotten older looking now.
Oh,
so.
okay.
Who's the daughter whose virginity he was guarding? That's not Tiny's child?
No, that's his child.
Yeah.
That's not his child?
No.
That's the one that he was guarding the virginity was his child.
Oh, yeah, that was his daughter. Yes. Yeah.
She's his child, but not Tiny's child. Okay, I'm thinking the other girl. Okay, yeah. You see, they have a large family, so we're just getting the confused a lot.
But Zanique is older than her.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
I think Zanique is older. No, I'm not sure. You know about the older of the other boys.
Yeah.
But she's the eldest girl.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So, Divas, what do you think about this story reported from TMZ and page6.com? What do you think?
I appreciate you.
She was waiting for that.
Right. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Do you think King is telling the truth, or do you think there's just some deep-rooted issues here, or is he just spoiled?
I think all of the above.
Yeah, true.
And I also think there's 2 sides of the story, but I think he's also got some issues and deep root. I mean, it's his vision of what happened. And, we all, if you look back at our childhood, it's never what it really was when you think about it. And as he gets older as an adult, he can probably reflect on like, oh, it really was what it was. But he sounds like he has some issues too.
Do you think T.I. was right for, quote unquote, putting him into his place while he was on live? Do you think he should just wait till he turn the camera off to do all that?
No.
You want to be on blast?
Nip it in the bud.
Because he
won't be about it. You a man.
Camera. You're gonna get a on-camera response.
Thank you.
Exactly.
I agree.
You want to be grown, so this is how grown folks deal with stuff.
Exactly. Because he could have taken that conversation at home and had that conversation with his parents at home. So
or
he
off camera.
Embarrass his parents.
Thank you.
Well, what if he was just only trying to embarrass them because they were in his mind, they were trying to embarrass him by saying, how sedity he was, or bougie, or whatever, growing up with a silver spoon. He ain't trying to be associated with that.
But it wasn't even on camera. He put it on camera to actually, it was a conversation maybe outside that they shouldn't have, but who else was around? He then turned the camera on, which then publicized it to everybody.
Exactly. He put the live on. He didn't have to put the live on.
Exactly.
But isn't that big a deal for parents to call you spoiled when they're the ones that spoiled? Like, I didn't feel like they were trying to embarrass him.
I agree.
And most parents agree to a certain degree. Most, like, they say that I do spoil my child. Shoot, because who else is gonna spoil them?
Right.
And
most parents, they want to give them a better life than what they had too. So, and it just happens to be spoiling, regardless of the outcome of the kids' behavior.
For my own speculation, I think he may have been spoiled monetarily wise, but I think attention wise, he wasn't really spoiled too much. I mean, when you have 2 very busy parents who live in the limelight, how much time do they really have for their kids like this? So maybe there's some resentment there or jealousy, you think? I'm just gonna.
I could see that point, but
I think when I'm looking at the show, well, and the show was what it is, or what it was. And it looked like I think the younger ones at the time got more attention than the older ones, especially the ones that weren't necessarily in the household, because they were pretty young compared to the other ones. It looks like, but I could possibly, maybe he didn't get the attention he desired.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is
That
making
wasn't
you
really
sound
his
more fun.
complaint in the video, was it? His complaint was that he was a man and you know, they weren't
He
respecting him
handled
as a man.
his.
Exactly.
He was hard and they weren't putting respect on his name. I mean, that was the vibe I got.
Yeah, yeah. Come on.
And
Everywhere I go, I stand
and
on
what
these.
T.I was trying to say is, look, you couldn't wipe your behind unless I bought the toilet paper. So stop.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So I was like, if he's a man, then he shouldn't have his hand out to his parents, and you be about it, you do about it. That's the way I look at when you're a man. So when you stop asking for my bank account and my credit card, then you a man.
Maybe he is trying. I don't know what career he's trying to have. Honestly, I never kind of looked.
He was performing for a while.
King?
Oh, did anybody care?
He had a following.
He did okay. I thought he did okay.
Yeah, he had a following.
Oh, okay.
So what happened? He's only 19.
Right.
Well, I mean, I haven't seen it since, I think the show
Yeah,
I think the show went off the air, but they had shown right before it went off the air that he was touring.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, when Trish, you're thinking the same thing I'm thinking. When you're watching the reality shows and they talk about them touring, you're like, okay, in my real life, I've never heard about your tour.
Yeah,
right.
Not one song.
From what I read, I thought that he was doing okay, but I don't know how it's going now, or maybe at the time, because sometimes maybe the show was pushing it, like making him more popular, and then once the show died down, then he kind of maybe lost a little bit of the popularity. I don't know, but
the show went off a while ago, didn't it?
Right, that's what I'm saying. He was like still a kid, like 15 or something.
He was like in his early teens, I remember.
Yeah,
I agree.
Maybe he's just trying to figure out a way to get out of his parents' shadow, and it's hard to do.
Not the way.
Exactly. At all.
Look, ride your parents' coattails like other people until you figure it out. I mean, look, if I had that opportunity, I'm like, hey, my daddy, my mama, make your own way. But I mean, that's not the way to make it, in my opinion.
Right.
I just didn't like the disrespect, but at the same time, King has been disrespecting people for years.
Exactly.
For years. So T.I and Tiny had to know that was going to get turned on them at a certain point. So I feel like this is the monster they created.
True. So it's probably more proof that they really weren't that really involved, because he doesn't seem too disciplined, huh? I'm just kidding. But
that doesn't necessarily mean there can be people completely involved who don't discipline their kids. You see that all the time.
Yeah.
Or just again,
they believe in that timeout time. You need to beat their butts. I'm sorry, that's why I don't have kids.
I never once watched the show. Did the kids have a good relationship with their parents? A traditional relationship with their parents?
For the most part, it seemed like T.I and Tiny took interest in what they wanted to do and spoke to them about what they wanted to do. And basically, if you want to learn how to do something, we'll connect you with the people, like, kind of interning to figure things out. You're not just going to get it. I'm not just going to blow money on you just because you're my kid. You're going to have to work for it.
Yeah.
And again, this could have been what they.
I'm sorry, Joe.
No, I was just gonna say again, this could have just been what they showed on the show,
right? The editing.
How was it? I'm gonna ask, is there any indication of why King turned into such a horror show?
Why does any superstar kid turn into a horror show?
There's always that one child that's a little dramatic and entitled, because Zonique wasn't like that. And the other two boys that are T.I.'s sons, they were not like that. One of those boys was kind of getting into, I'm not sure per se, I don't know if it was producing or writing or what have you. And he was humble about what it was that he was doing.
Some of them were
but there's always that one child that,
And again, like you guys said, there has to be a little bit more, because at least the one thing we can say that probably has to be true, because the two sides said so, is that he spent a lot of time at his grandmother's house. He wasn't really in the household.
They all agreed on that.
Yeah. So there had to be something.
And it could have been while they were touring.
Right, which is probably quite often because that's how most artists make their money is stories.
But they didn't say that in the argument. She said because grandma was spoiling him. That's why
basically.
And that could have been very well true too.
Yeah. What do you got? I was gonna think about that too. Do you think she was wrong for outing him, talking about he was trying to suck his pacifier till he was 12 years old?
She was probably getting frustrated and
Exactly.
like
at that point they were playing a dozen, so they were
exactly. And I remember that on the show with that damn pacifier in his mouth.
Oh, really? All right.
Don't start none, won't be none.
Right.
Started something he couldn't finish. What T.I had him, he was just like, let me go.
I mean, but people even put on like the comments, people was not even, happy with him either. Was like kind of like, yo, what was wrong with you? Why you acting like that to your parents? Like that was wrong, so
true.
I mean, come on.
All right, Andres, let us know what you think as well. Do you agree with King and that you believe his street cred story? Or do you think, or do you even just think that, he's just being spoiled right now and acting out, as most young men do. So drop a comment down below and let us know. All right, moving on. Ladies, our time off. People go crazy when you're not at work, right? You know what I mean? So, man. Oh, we all heard about the news of Diddy, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy. So last week, I feel like the week before, like right before Thanksgiving, at some point, he was being sued by Cassie, singer, former girlfriend. There she is, for a cycle of abuse and violence. She sued him, and it was literally resolved in a record time of 24 hours. That's right, for an undisclosed amount. NDAs were, I'm pretty sure, were signed, sealed, and delivered. And they both issued statements from like lawyers, saying we're glad to have moved on, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if you ladies saw it as well, but Diddy did some post on Instagram that like acting like, he's still standing sort of thing. Very cocky in my opinion.
I didn't see that.
It's like he was some, But since then, people were like, oh, Cassie, definitely lit a fire. And she's like, hey, ladies, anybody else? And 2 other women have come forward as well, accusing Diddy for sexual violence and suing him, basically. One of the women, she gave her name. Her name was Joy Dickerson. She said that she was a 19-year-old student at Syracuse University when she met Puffy at a restaurant, and then she was drugged, and that she was videotaped as well, and the tape was shared around several friends. I do want to note as well, because how people usually say, why are they waiting so long? Why are they waiting so long? But according to my sources here at thesource.com, ABC News, and the Shade Room, that Joy Dickerson, she did file a police report in New York and New Jersey after the abuse. A couple of the news outlets tried to inquire with the New York City Police Department, but they, of course, didn't return a statement. So she did try to seek criminal charges back then.
They said why he was not arrested back then?
No, they did. Yeah. Because I think they're trying to ask the police, like, what happened, maybe just not a lack of evidence or something like that, because in one of the articles I read that, when she was trying to get people to confirm about the videotape, that some people were like denying the tape if they had it or something.
They were afraid of backlash.
Right. Because he's, I mean, especially at that time, he's kind of coming, but he was still, I feel like, somewhat influential in the industry around that time.
Intimidating as well.
Yeah.
What was this?
I'm sorry, what?
What year?
Oh, 1991 for Joy. Yeah, around 1991. And then in a separate lawsuit, Thursday, this woman, she did not give her name, so she's known as Jane Doe. She said that her and her roommate were both assaulted by Puff Daddy and a friend of his as well, allegedly. And so, of course, Combs is currently denying the allegations, right? saying that it's just a money grab because they're trying to exploit the New York law that is temporarily extending the statutes of limitations, which is why some of these civil suits are starting to come forward. But since then, Diddy's businesses have started to slow down because he's a man with tons of jobs. Okay. So
slow down or step out?
Right. Step out. Good word. Right. First, Diddy,
Run.
Right. Run out. Trying to seek and hide, basically. Diddy decided last week that he would make the temporary move to remove himself as chairman of Revolt TV. Which honestly, I have not paid attention to Revolt, so I don't know how this is still successful because I'm not watching. I was kidding.
Like, was this like a real sacrifice?
Right.
Dang, Antrese.
Or was he trying to just get himself out of it?
Right. And I guess it's been in business for 10 years, you know.
Damn.
Resigned in lieu of termination.
Right.
Well, maybe he's just like, this is a good time for me to, you know, gracefully bow out of this.
Right.
Ship.
According to Diddy, he says his goal in making the decision was to not allow the accusations he's facing to distract from Revolt's mission or success. Revolt is being currently run by CEO Detavio Samuels and Chief Brand Officer Dion Graham. You know, and we were told that Diddy is not involved in the company's day-to-day to begin with. So I guess he just has that, you know, name attached from starting it up. Who knows? But then, so after the whole Revolt TV news, then just in last night as well on Tuesday, Diddy's partnership with Capital Preparatory Charter Schools has also ended. In a statement from Dr. Steve Perry, the founder and head of the schools, he has said, following a comprehensive evaluation, a decision has been made to end the partnership. While this decision was not made lightly, we firmly believe it is in the best interest of our organization's health and future. Diddy was involved with the school's launch back in Harlem in 2016, and in 2021, he made a $1 million donation that went towards the school's Bronx location. Yeah. So, ladies,
and he's lost his Macy's account, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's right. Thanks for the reminder. It was definitely talking about yes. So Macy's has also decided to discontinue.
Jump ship.
Macy's, they were saying that they had been planning to do that.
Yeah.
Right. That's what they said. But the timing is awful coincidental.
Nobody buying Sean John.
I didn't know that closed.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I went into Macy's and there were a couple of decent looking suits that were they were on sale. But yeah, but they were still nice.
Macy's always got a sale though.
Stuff's always been nice, but are people really rocking Sean John?
But the thing is, his suits were not like outlandish and like out of like, you know, like
standing out too much.
They were exactly. They were those.
You want to know Mr. Sean John?
Yeah, it was just like, you know, the nicely tailored suits, the thin, you know how what younger men are wearing are the thin, the slim fit cut suits. So we had a couple of those, and he had like a couple of like suits that were like with the vests. So I want to say that I was surprised too that he still had a nice little section of Macy's available, you know, and some of the suits were, I'd say 70% of the suits were like your classic suits, and there was like maybe a couple that were like with, you know, wide patterns, but for the most majority it was still decent suits.
But it's not like Adidas letting go of Yeezy. Not quite the same.
Right.
I agree.
No, but money's money. Money's money.
Yeah.
But
well, according to Macy's, it wasn't making money anyway.
For Macy's, they weren't making money.
Right. Yeah, that's what they said. They had to let it go. They were like, this has been a decision in the making for a while. It won't even be online either, though. So I just feel like it's very coincidental that the timing of it, even if you've been thinking about it for a while, the timing is perfect at this point.
Right. Exactly. Because regardless, they was in the store and something was selling for them to keep it
right
in a section of their store. So
because guess what? It's been in Macy's since 2010. So it's a long time. You know.
Oh,
yeah. So ladies, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think should Diddy be stepping down, or do you think people maybe just rushing to judgment?
No, I think he should be stepping down when in certain organizations, like if you truly love these organizations, especially the kids' school and stuff, to me, regardless of right, wrong, or different, we don't know. He hasn't been tried. Just from the reputation of it, you wouldn't want to tarnish that. So if I was in a situation like that, I would step down because you don't want that to tarnish the good work of that organization that's being done.
Or for it to suffer, for that matter.
Right. Yeah.
True. And this is the culture these days anyway, right?
Canceled.
We just talked about that too.
But he's doing this on his own merit though. Should because he has a whole liquor brand. Should other brands be pulling out, you think, or what do you think?
Better not get rid of Ciroc. That's my stuff.
Wait a minute.
Darian, I love myself some Darian tequila, so I don't know.
Don't let the party suffer, okay?
Get your party
but
on.
That's the party that got him in trouble.
Let the party suffer.
He was partying.
But you let the party continue. You're helping his lifestyle continue,
But here's the thing also, but before, you've got to take into, he hasn't been found guilty yet for it. So it's always that catch-22. You start pulling out, he's not found guilty. Like, how would you feel? If you lost you were put in the same situation. Yes, you don't have the same magnitude, but your job says that you are against their ethics and they fire you or let you go. And you weren't found guilty yet.
I would say, yes, he has not been found guilty, but he has been. It's sort of like, how many times do you have to be accused? Like in a lifetime, how many people do you know that get accused of sexual assault? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So
still hasn't been found guilty. They settling. So until he's, in
I
the court of law and the peers.
But Maryland, though, what if they just can't go to criminal court? But they obviously have some sort of merit if he's settling left and right behind closed doors.
Is he settling left and right? I believe
he's only settling. But I'm just saying it's still got
that's
not
what I'm saying. Yeah, not settling left and right. He's not doing that. Okay, he settled one case.
One case that had a smoking gun because he knew she had a whole bunch of evidence.
I just feel like, okay, sexual assault is aside. The other 2 cases, if he's guilty of that, that's a different topic. That's not what happened with him and Cassie. She was in a 10-year toxic relationship with him. I don't want to get involved in what they were doing together. And I don't know why that should affect his business, especially if she took the payout and she put out a nice statement saying it was amicable. I just feel like that's not my business. What happened between them? They settled it. And she went along with it for 10 years. I think that's different than sexual assault. I think that's, for me, it's different. I don't know how the rest of you feel.
To my opinion, just because you were in a relationship with somebody doesn't mean you can't be abused for 10 years.
I'm not saying that you can't. I'm just saying I don't know that I need to be involved in your abuse.
I don't know what that means.
What does that mean?
As a consumer, I don't need a man to lose his.
Okay, you're talking about his business.
Because he was involved in a toxic relationship.
Okay.
I feel it's different if somebody's out raping people. That to me, that's 2 completely different things. Like Johnny Depp was in a toxic, abusive relationship. I didn't feel like he needed to have his whole career ruined over what happened between him and Amber Heard. I just don't feel like I know enough about what happened between Cassie and Sean for me to care about him losing sponsorships and businesses.
I get you to a point, I guess what it is. Because I kind of feel with that it's a fine line to differentiate the toxic abuse. We have been told reportedly as to how toxic it was. There was physical, there was mental, all of this abuse, whereas with rape there can be all of that as well, and sexual abuse too. So this is what I mean by there's a fine line in terms of the perpetrator basically losing the various
sponsorships and stuff,
streams of income that they may have. So I agree with you, but I don't agree with you in that sense, meaning separating them out.
Would you feel, if it was just a regular old Joe, should he lose his corporate job?
If he and his wife had an abuse.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. That's where I think you were going with that. Like
that's our business.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean by it's a fine line, because because we're talking two different things now. This example that you were just giving, like, for example, Marilyn, you're saying this Joe Schmo, if he was, I don't know,
same situation,
CEO of a company or something like that.
Right. But his abuse is what?
Similar to same as what she's claiming,
but she's claiming physical abuse. She's claiming sexual abuse. She's
right. But should he lose? What I'm asking, in that same situation, should the CEO of a company lose his job because of that?
And I'm saying, in both instances, there can be instances where they can lose. Again, so what if he was a principal of a school? You just finished saying I would remove myself, because
he's choosing to remove, not saying they are removing. He's making the choice. That's what I was saying with that. He's choosing to not but
regardless if they remove him or he removes himself from a school.
I think it's different. I mean, if he's just because that doesn't mean he's done that to the kids. So you're saying that,
I
you're
didn't say
convicting him
doing it to the kids.
No, right. But again, I just think I think we hold, or I feel like it's like when you're a celebrity and you have all of this, they get held to this so high of standard. I'm like, if you take that same principle of that and put that on like the regular Joe Schmo, people will be like, oh, heck no. That's just my personal opinion.
No, who much is given as much is required. If you're going to be a celebrity, there's certain levels to that. You accept certain responsibilities for that, because you get millions and millions of dollars. That 1% tax bracket thing comes with responsibilities to uphold.
I get you, but also at the same token, I feel like even if you're a principal of
that.
Who decided
Society decided it in a sense.
Exactly.
Because they want us to worship them, quote unquote. They act like we have to buy into whatever they're selling, and that's why they got sponsorships, because people sell into who that person is, that persona. Literally, half of their brand is who they are as a person. So if your brand is tarnished as a person, you should lose your doggone job, because now you're tainting my brand with your association of your.
Diddy comes from toxic hip hop, patriarchal, male-dominated culture. That's the culture he comes from. He's not Bill Cosby.
So that's an excuse?
No, I'm just saying, she's saying he sold us a dream. Diddy never sold you a dream that he was a great boyfriend. That wasn't the dream he was selling. So what does he owe you in that regard?
He did.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I never saw this. This is not shocking to me. Like, I never saw anything in Sean Diddy Combs' Puff Daddy that led me to believe he was a great, loving, supportive boyfriend. So to find out that he wasn't, I'm not stunned, because that wasn't ever a part of his image. I don't feel like it was.
I don't think I've seen any images of him trying to act like he wasn't way beforehand. I mean, he's a big old.
That's no.
You see, every Instagram photo has this new baby photo every 5 seconds, like he's some devoted dad. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Dad is different than being a good mate. So I think we all know that.
Right. But that doesn't give him an excuse because of.
It's not for me to excuse or not excuse him. I wasn't in the 10-year relationship with him.
And I get that. But that's what this discussion is about.
So it's not for me to excuse him.
Yeah.
If you're committing crimes, I feel like that's different. I just think.
So that's my point, is you don't think this is a crime to me. You think this is not a crime, is what I'm getting.
So he hasn't been convicted of a crime.
A lot of people don't get convicted. People who are innocent get convicted of crime. So this argument right there, I mean,
so you're saying, but basically, I think, are you asking, Alicia, what happened with Cassie? You don't believe that it was a crime?
I don't know. I'm saying I only heard her version of the story about her 10-year relationship. I don't know what happened between those two people, and I don't feel called on to convict him of things that I don't know or understand. He never gave his side of the story. We only heard her complaint, and we all know, because we work in, situations. Right. Just because he accuses you of something doesn't mean you did it. And just your boyfriends, your exes can go tell their tale about what happened the years you were with them. You might disagree on some of the points. Right. We just heard her side of the story. So no, I'm not ready to convict him of a crime. And he hasn't been.
What does they say? There's always there's two sides of the story, and there's always there's probably some truth somewhere in the middle. Yeah,
exactly. So should he get convicted of these other things?
then that'd be
the way things are going in terms of him losing
sponsorships and stuff.
Sponsorships and things like this, that is agreeable?
I think that'd be different if he's raping people.
If he is convicted.
For me, I don't think there's much difference between this and that mess that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard had going on. To me.
Okay.
Johnny Depp has sex trafficking going on? I don't know all about the Johnny Depp case, but that was involved?
I guess he wasn't sex trafficked.
And it seemed like it was an argument between two mates.
When someone's been kidnapped and held against their will, like, come on, guys, like this was not a sex trafficking situation.
I
don't know that. Yeah, again, yeah.
Those were the many allegations. I should just say.
Part, I can't say or what have you.
But I'm just saying, I feel like this stuff was way more extreme.
I think on the surface, our discussion is more so, and you to correct me if I'm wrong. On the surface, without knowing all this deep information, because nothing has gone to court or what have you, we're talking more so about their livelihoods being taken away.
Based on allegations.
Okay.
And is that more so what we're discussing?
I thought that's
our right. So again, I still agree with Marilyn, where even though there are allegations, nothing has been set in stone or what have you. When you are part of certain groups or what have you, you're the
most definitely.
Or whatever, then yeah, I think you do.
There's a level of responsibility that you have to take in some sort of hits that you have to take, because if I hear that the principal of my Catholic school has alleged to be, I'm going to have a different stance.
They have an ethics clause,
ethical stance about whatever.
Yeah,
right. They would have an ethics clause, which I mean, it's in your code of conduct and all that they're signed. I'm talking like the C, like. Mm-hmm. Which would, certain, like, that's why I was trying not to put it in like a school realm, just a regular old Joe, the mailman. I mean, something, you deliver something from that perspective.
Yeah. And I think even still, like even the mailman, right? I even still think that because of maybe 20 years ago, it might not have been the same, but where we are now with what we just mentioned about this cancel culture, I think it's unfortunate. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I think it's unfortunate that the individual, that is, may expect people or whatever they're involved in to step away, because this is what is happening today. And
I understand people stepping away, but losing your job. I mean, like I said, I'm not talking the rich people who, have that, but the regular old mailman, he loses his job. What is he going to do?
Mm-hmm. No, I get it. I mean, I totally
I agree on that part, Melon. I can see your point there for like the regular Joe.
That's what I was saying. Like,
who only has one job. Diddy has 15 jobs.
Right. But again, I'm just saying that you have to have a balance. You can't be, because that was the saying, you start going down this road, the regular, the common place individual.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, right. Like I said, the mailman, this is his only job, right? He hasn't been convicted of anything, and say, for example, the post office is just like, look, I'm out. You gotta go, right? It's unfortunate, but this is the culture we are in at this time. And that is what's happening. It's unfortunate. I don't agree with it, because what is he supposed to do? How is he supposed to get money for his attorney? Mm-hmm. Blah, 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 blah. But this is where we are, I feel.
Yeah, for that one, I kind of disagree with you on that, John, just for a little bit, just because the only reason why I say for Diddy, because it's funny, his lifestyle of that sort of things that he's doing, but for the regular postman, if it's just an accusation, it's only that one job, unless it's affecting his work, you know what I mean? Like if he's preying on women he's delivering mail to or something like that or whatever, then I can see it, or being accused by someone, or to where people are scared.
On that route, he needs to go to a different route, or like, they said he's
right. But I don't believe that it would happen anyway. For example, if it wasn't, something like that it was okay, well, you lost your job, I don't think so either. I think it would happen in those instances that you guys described. Yes. Allegedly, right?
Allegedly. Did we answer your question, Trace, or you think we scattered around?
I think we just did a whole lot of everything. And on to the next. And so, Taraj.
To the mailman.
Well, Diddy, wish you luck. Wish you luck.
Thank you.
Entourage, let us know what you think about that. Would you still support, Diddy's music? Because I feel like he dropped an album not too long ago. So will you be streaming his music still or what?
That's the rock in my cabinet, and there it is.
Will you
look? And you gonna keep buying you some Ciroc, right? Cheers.
There's a new flavor on sale called Honeydew, and I'm trying it tomorrow.
Oh, y'all, let us know how it goes. Let us know in the comments on Trees how it is. We're definitely not sponsored by Ciroc, just FYI. So what did I say? We're not sponsored by anybody.
But if you guys would like to,
Right.
we all take a sip.
Thank you, because it sounded thirsty.
True. Oh,
it benefits the victims, doesn't it?
So let me ask you, Archie. I know this is slightly out of topic a little bit, but slightly related. Just because I just thought about this, since Archie was going so hard in the paint about this. So if a man was
Lava said, "Oh no, she didn't gone. Time. We've been at time, y'all know."
You
want their money. That's what they're doing now.
Go on, Alicia.
Okay, Archie. So if a regular Joe
But she's pointing at you, Andres. You've been on the hot table. Sorry, I'll let you go.
Because I know her attitudes towards this, and she still wants to rock. So if it's just accusations, if a man approached you for a date and you know that he just had accusations,
hell no.
Would you? Okay, just check.
No, I believe in the Yelp reviews. So.
Go on. Yeah.
So whatever you had going over there with Cassie, I'm not into it. So no.
All right. So Alicia, on that note, can we move?
Yes, we're moving on. Okay, for sure.
Not Diddy.
To a lighter topic. Some people might be excited about this. I don't know. Just playing. So
Joe's like, no.
Right. In a new trend lately, icon Taylor Swift, who is a, singer extraordinaire, multi-talented, a hyphenate lady of, whatever. And she is now being taught in college universities. Like her music, everything. So this is following the footsteps from institutions such as University of Texas, Arizona State University, Stanford University, and UC Berkeley. They all have courses teaching about Taylor Swift and the phenomenon of who she is. And now recently, there are 2 more universities now offering this. It's both Harvard, prestigious Harvard now, and the University of Florida are teaching courses on her. Harvard's course is called Taylor Swift and Her World, and Florida's course is called Musical Storytelling with Taylor Swift and Other Iconic Female Artists. Both courses have summaries up online on their respective websites. The Harvard English department instructor, Stephanie Burt, she decided to go on TMZ and she, gave a little spiel about her course and there were additional questions about it. And so she said that she guides the students through examinations of fan culture, celebrity culture, adolescence, adulthood, and appropriation, as well as approaches to, I don't know what this means, maybe it's above my head here, but it says, quote unquote, to white text, Southern text, transatlantic text, and queer subtext. And even they'll talk about Taylor Swift's relationships.
And champagne.
What degree does this fall under?
I'm sorry, what? What course?
I was like, what degree does this fall under? I mean, like,
it's not, it's elective? It has to be an elective.
Yeah, I think an elective English course for sure.
But what if your kid was going into a career like involved with like media consulting or being a journalist?
I would like it broad, but not just on one person. Like the Florida one sounded like it was more broader, but just.
And I know Questlove teaches a class on hip hop. So, but I think that's something totally different.
Yeah, because he's doing hip hop in general, a big pool of people, not just one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If it was more of a
universities offering classes on the Kardashians too.
Who is? I'm sorry, you cut out a little bit at the beginning.
There's universities that offer courses on the Kardashians.
Really? I didn't know.
Is it related to their social context in terms of social context as it relates to, I guess, branding and things of that nature?
And they're business minded. I mean, they're very, I mean, they're iconic. I mean, they're
I guess
brandy.
they
I guess
have
I
to.
just don't think of, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just trying to think when I think, and maybe I don't know, and I apologize, I don't know enough about Taylor Swift and all that she's done from that standpoint. Maybe that's why I'm like, you know, maybe I do a little bit more research. I mean, I know she's well known and all that, but not knowing the depth. Maybe I need to take the course.
Yeah, one of them was saying about her songwriting skills. In my opinion, I've listened to a couple of songs. They're kind of, you know, catchy, but I don't know if it's like course worthy to me. But
I guess things are changing, and schools have to find a way
to make people and make parents pay for them to go to school.
To make things attractive, you know. And I'm not saying I'm not saying that this is a bad thing or a good thing, but it's probably a way for the schools to think outside of the box. A different way of teaching things, like you guys mentioned, you know, like for example, you guys mentioned the Kardashians in their class, and maybe, I don't know, the way, because people are always talking about the Kardashians, maybe that's for lack of better words,
an incentive or a way to bring them in.
Yeah,
in the Harvard did a class with Kim where they had her come out and speak to the business students.
Yeah.
And the cameras weren't allowed into the actual classroom, but they showed it. There were maybe 300 of them sitting there. And it was basically about how she built her business, how she built her brand, and they had a lot of questions for her.
Okay, that's appropriate in my opinion.
But that's what I'm saying. This is a new way to bring it to them. It's the same old ABCs.
Just I don't think Taylor's going to make an appearance. I don't think Taylor Swift is going to make an appearance at any of these universities to talk about.
No, but she's saying the subject matter, and how they're trying to, if you're trying to teach a business class or you're trying to teach a social media class or some sort of journalism class, what you're trying to do is invoke some sort of appeal by changing the outlook of it. You're changing the cover of the book. Okay. The same context of the book, but the cover of it is different.
Right. Okay.
I guarantee you Taylor Swift is going to Harvard.
I agree with you on
that. No, I agree too. She's going. The way to go there.
Yeah, it would be in her best interest to do.
She'll get an honorary degree too. Honorary degree.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lavelle.
Lavelle, if she doesn't already, right?
Right.
Commencement speech at the next college graduation.
Never know. I guess it's like they got to do what they got to do to collect their coins.
Yeah, let me ask you, Divas, a question. If they were teaching a class on John Lennon, would that be outrageous?
Well, I mean, they teach courses about Shakespeare. I mean, again, I still believe times are changing, and you have to find a new way to grab people's interest or to teach the same old thing. 1 + 1 is going to equal 2, no matter how you cut it.
You want to make it identifiable.
Exactly.
I
don't blame them.
I get you, but the thing is, at a certain period in time, Antrese, with John Lennon's socialism in terms of whatever like platform that he stood for at that time and his music being popular, there may have been at some given point in time, you know, someone wanting to, or a group of people wanting to, I'll take a class on John Lennon because of XYZ, because that was during a, specific period. So I could see it. But just like you said, yeah, I think it goes on the time. I don't agree with it.
I'm wondering if it's because she's a young, pretty girl.
I don't think so.
Because what's the difference between Taylor Swift and a great poet? Like, what's the difference?
I don't think
poets don't make money.
I don't agree. I don't
see them do on Rihanna.
I
think Rihanna's a great businessman.
I would think the same. The thing is, I don't agree with it. But if they would have picked Rihanna too, or Beyonce for that matter, it's just like Joe said, it's along the same lines. You're picking, whatever. I don't agree with it, but hey.
Right. Yeah, I feel like
they would have a lot to. Certain songwriters, certain artists have a lot to say. We don't really think about it in that matter, but just think about the experience that she could give, the lessons that she could give as far as reaching from the beginning until now. And then once you reached a certain plateau, how you expand the certain plateau. So I think they would be able to do that. I mean, wasn't Taylor Swift on one of those reality talent shows? That's how she got her start.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, like a Star Search or something? No, wasn't she a YouTube person or something? How did she get?
Don't give me the line. That would mean.
I'm sorry. Entourage, y'all may have to tell us.
Yeah.
All of her own music,
right?
And that's great. She gets to keep all the money
because she's buying the stuff that she didn't own 20 years ago. And I just think, like, what's the difference between her and Robert Frost or Sylvia Plath, who just wrote poems? Like, what is
I
the
agree
difference?
with you. You keep bringing up stuff, but I agree with you.
There are courses on these people.
I think if it's appropriate, because if it's just a general English class, I'm like, okay, I don't know about that. But if it's a songwriting class or a music degree you're trying to get in, it's a perfect fit to learn about Taylor Swift and her songwriting skills and this and that. In my opinion, but she's not like a multi-hyphenate too. I mean, she might have other businesses, but it's just, the songs and touring.
They will break it down. I mean, regardless of how they choose her material, how they choose her, the school still has criteria that they have to.
Most definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So they're not just going to say, hey, we're just going to talk about Taylor and the song she wrote yesterday. You know what I mean? It's probably a breakdown of why, what, when, how, whatever. I think it's fine. They're gonna have to figure out, like I say, you got to find a way to keep these people coming into your schools. Let's figure out
and paying $400 per credit for that class.
Right.
They're not going to Harvard because Taylor Swift class is being offered.
They're not going to Harvard for Taylor Swift course.
But they will take.
If they are in Harvard, they can take the course, and that may pique their interest in whatever it is that the reason behind this Taylor Swift course. If the Taylor Swift, meaning like if it was a Kim Kardashian course that was taught, that was like Marilyn was asking what section or whatever, and if this Kim Kardashian was taught in a finance, and that's one of your finance courses, but I'm going to Harvard, well, then maybe I'm gonna take that finance course because it may interest me just a little bit better so that I can get whatever degree I need to complete to get. And if Taylor's is English, then hey, I'm just saying.
I agree with your earlier point that it's about changing times, and now we're thinking about business, we're thinking about commerce, we're thinking about marketing, we're thinking about those things in different ways. And I think social media has a lot to do with it. So I think they're just more keeping up with, there are new ways for young people to make money than there were, when we were in college.
Of course.
Right. I mean, I agree with it. Like, even with the Kardashians, I just said I didn't know. And that's just me being naive and not knowing Taylor's whole breadth of experience, a story. So for when I heard it, I'm like, why? I just know what she puts out. So like I said,
to me, it's all I know. She's just songwriter and singer and all this sort of stuff. But the business side, I have no idea about. But
the entourage, I apologize. Let us know in the comments that she's got this breadth of experience that we're not seeing that makes it for a remarkable course on her.
It wouldn't say just a songwriter, Alicia. Those are the people who make money in the music industry. It's the songwriter.
Oh no, songwriters make money.
I don't think she's written for anybody else though. She's only written for herself, right? Like,
but doesn't make a difference. It takes a lot. It takes a lot to be a songwriter, and the thought process. I mean, that can be if it was a course for just creative writing. If
it was a creative writing course, but no English intense course. But yeah.
Why can't it be an English course? They could have her write a story on. I mean, I was just.
Since I want to get on my back, let me ask y'all. So for free money, so you get to audit a class, would you audit this Taylor Swift course if you could audit it for free?
Of course, I need to know more. Free, yeah, sure, I would try and audit it and see what it's about.
Well, I don't know I don't know enough about Taylor Swift. That's why I said if I knew her breadth. I don't know because I don't necessarily want to be.
She is a singer. She is a songwriter. She is a producer, director, businesswoman, and actress.
What? Wait a minute.
She directed her videos.
And this tour, she was having.
She's got a lot to offer.
Promotion. She's not just sitting there saying, "Hey, let me kick a note."
See, for me, I don't know if I would do that. I mean, that isn't of interest to me, even with free, because that means still got to do some work. Now, if you said Kim Kardashian, I might want to know how she got her, some business sense. Just a different realm of hearing that. For me, for my interest. Not saying that it's right or wrong, just my interest. I'm not from the music background.
And then someone had asked, how did Taylor Swift get her start? So I looked it up. She got her start at a Nashville industry showcase. She was 13 years old, and she caught the attention of an executive.
Producers.
Okay. Yeah. So she's definitely been in the business since she's about 13. So.
I just know a lot of young women just love her music. And are real devoted to her. So something she's saying in her music is really speaking. To young women, so.
And the schools are listening.
Yep.
So I guess we're just behind the times. We need to listen to some more Taylor Swift. So if anyone wants to comp us any Taylor Swift tickets, we'll be down to go and evaluate it for you. Give you a review.
Again, I'm feeling a little thirsty.
Thank you. I'm good.
Now, if you say Usher, look.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna put my plug out there, Usher.
Right. So who would you, if you could pick any celebrity for a course to be actors, who would it be? In my opinion, I think it should. Why are you laughing?
Question? I didn't hear the damn question.
She wants to know who you would go to see in a course.
She
wants to know what celebrity you want to go
right now. What is going on? Lava, is there a problem, Lava?
Not at all. I'm listening.
Lava, who are you going to take the course from? About?
I was going to say, I feel like there should be a course over Keke Palmer because she's a very very business. She's a very business. She stays with a job. Like,
I love Keke. I just don't know if I would take the course with her. On her. I don't need to.
Yeah, I don't either.
We know enough about Keke Palmer.
I'm good. I'm good on that.
Okay, good. Thanks, y'all. Forgive the rest of this panel. Maybe they're just, too drunk off that Diddy Ciroc tonight. I don't know. He put something in it. I don't know. Who knows?
Oh yeah.
You just
He's too much.
Let us know what you
Good
think.
night.
See, I was trying to end it. Y'all don't want you to.
Go ahead, Ms. Alicia. Go with your play.
Okay. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about this. Are you excited about this? Any of her courses? Would you take a Taylor Swift course? Or do you sort of, agree with some of the other people like, I'm not too sure. Why would she have a course? Who would you pick? Let us know. All right. Hit the comment button, like, and subscribe. See you next week.
Bye, Antras.
It's Angela.